I've put together a list of the top 10 vital signs for a campus ministry. Paul, maybe we could do a podcast or article on that sometime. But my highest vital sign, this is my opinion, but it's always been how many undergrad students have made a disciple in your ministry?
Yeah.
In other words, this is a student, not a staff person. How many students have actually led someone to Christ and then followed them up and then taken the time and effort to establish them as a disciple, a sold out follower of Jesus Christ? And so that's when you know you are starting to move from simple addition to multiplication, from being just staff led to student led, from a ministry to a movement. Yep. You know that phrase, yes. Paul.
Yes, sir.
And so one thing we both agree on is that we should be focused on praying for and raising up laborers for the harvest. That's why we wrote The Fuel and the Flame. And that book is really designed to motivate, mobilize students to embrace the lifestyle of a laborer. And so, what are the vital signs of a healthy campus ministry, campus movement? I know you guys at Chico State, Paul, and I do want you to mention the name of the other two campuses that you've started ministries on this fall so we can make sure everyone is praying for those staff and students. But you guys have a goal to help a student go from lost to laborer in 1 year. I think that's pretty cool. It's a challenge for sure, but what are some key strategies that your team uses to raise up laborers like that?
Yeah. So the ministries that we helped start, one of them, we sent a team to UC Santa Cruz. And so they're about 2% reached with the gospel. It's in the Bay Area. And it's a surf town, college town, and super dark place, UC Santa Cruz. And so they've already seen 2 or 3 people come to Christ, and they've got doing some of their social events and all that. So just started their fall outreach. And then we got Tarrant County Community College, a church-based ministry that a couple went, and they're partnering with the church there, and they're doing kind of a hybrid campus-based, church-based model there. And so they've actually seen several come to Christ, and there was no other Christian ministries on this community college. And they had 16 people at their last small group Bible study, and they've several discipleship relationships started. And so they just kind of went where no one else was and started churning up, and little did they know that God had already prepared hearts for them. So it's exciting. So yes, our concept of lost to labor in 1 year, I think there's an urgency, especially in collegiate ministry, because every year we lose like a fourth of our students to graduation, and we're sending them out to, Lord willing, reach the nations with the gospel. But our goal is we want to accelerate that process. So I'm a big fan of the leadership pipeline concept, where you take someone from a new believer to one day a church planner or something, and that's a several year process. But how do we accelerate that, like a boost pad on Mario Kart or something? It's just how do we get this thing going a little faster? Because we've discovered that the best people in the world to share the gospel are new believers. because they have the most non-Christian friends. They have this zeal, this passion to get the gospel out. And some of the best partiers on campus also become the best evangelists. And so we want to get those people moving right away, and they don't know any better. They don't know it's not normal to share your faith. So when you create a culture of evangelism in your ministry, these new believers can become just seeds of a movement or revival on your campus. And so we created our own little mini leadership pipeline where we have material that we go through with them one-on-one through discipleship. We get them into this greenhouse environment we call it Core Team. That's more, not so much a leadership team, but more of a, it's a vision, equipping, accountability environment. And we get them in that, a freshman or new believer in that during the spring semester of they're a brand new believer or just brand new to getting training. And they go through that spring semester in this greenhouse Core Team environment. And then the last push is that summer project, an 8-week summer project where we get almost half of our ministry every year does that or more, goes through that. And so we show up to campus with 40 to 70 people that spent the whole summer dreaming, planning, getting poured into by staff and church leaders. And then we just hit the campus the next fall with a small army, ready, just salivating, ready to share the gospel. And at the beginning of every summer, I try to cast vision to all of our students and say, add to your prayer list. We train them how to have a prayer list. One person that you can lead to Christ and disciple this fall. Pray for it every day this summer.
Yes.
And I ask them, is that a prayer that God would want to answer? And they're like, yeah, I think so. And so the ones that are faithful to that process and really praying, almost every single one of them ends up leading someone to Christ.
Wow.
And so it's kind of this, and you can imagine a few years of building on that. You start to see some real significant momentum and spiritual multiplication and movement on your campus. So that's kind of our Lost to Labor pipeline.
Yep. Yeah, let me jump on that concept here. I want to follow up with one thought you had. Lost to labor, that means you've got to focus on non-believers, bro. Yep. And so those that are listening or watching this, if you want to have kind of a small, nice, quiet little ministry on your campus, well, then focus on the Christians and, just kind of reorganize Christians. But if you really want to see some amazing seeds of revival and a real movement, focus on the non-Christians, leading them to Christ. That is really where the power is. That's where the movement will come from, is people coming to Christ.